It's the final countdown, and that means it's Thursday. Well, not just because it's the final countdown, it means it's Thursday, but it's Thursday. So that means it's DC and Bobby Gomes and me, Holden, and we're going to take your questions in the premium chat as we normally do, guys. We had to give Big T the night off. I think he's probably been peeling to Taysom Hill's photo now for about the last 6 hours. We'll see how sore he is. I'll talk to him tomorrow and see if he has survived that. Actually, I kind of feel like that's the biggest story at RPS. Anytime Taysom Hill's out there, our fearless leader is going to talk so much shit. And then I hope he falls flat on his face tonight. That's all I'm saying. How about you, DC?
I think you got a decent chance of that happening. Taysom Hill. He does seem like a near must play in Showdown to me, but
Yes.
that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play super well.
Yeah. He just called me out on Twitter. He said to shove it in my face about Taysom Hill. Maybe that's because I recommended betting his under passing yards at 216.5 tonight. So maybe Big T, we'll see what happens there, buddy. Appreciate the call out. I know it's all love, but I hope you sink tonight. Bobby, how are you, my friend? What's going on in Boston and Beantown where the Patriots are back? I mean, my God, man, you got yourself another good team for another decade.
I know they are definitely back. The Pats. I don't know. I'm a Brady guy though. I'm with my guy Brady. I'm with the Bucks. I can't be. Mac Jones is new to me. It's like a side chick, So
you'll be okay. Everything should be good. You're gonna like it up there. Let me get you some stuff we got going on in the NBA. Bobby, as you said right before we came on, Nick stuff. Nerlens Noel is out. RJ Barrett is out. Bobby, talk to me about this here. What does that open up in New York?
Yeah, well, we already have Alec Burks, like with this new increased usage role as a starting point guard. He's 6'5". I still think he's underpriced at that price. I think it really helps Randall. Randall's going to see a 28.7% usage in this scenario, so I don't mind Randall either. Derrick Rose had a good game the other day. I don't mind going back to him. That's pretty much for the Knicks. That's all. That's pretty much where I'm looking.
DC, let me get your thoughts on this too. What do you think of the Knicks with these two guys down? Then I'll get both of your thoughts on the overall slate.
Yes, I'm interested there, but I mean, there are definitely better spots to go. We've got the Oklahoma City Thunder missing all of their playmakers, all the guys that normally, kind of produce in that role. They're super cheap. So like all the Thunder value, I like better than all the Knick value. This is going to be a slate, I think, where there's almost too many value plays, right? You can't fit them all in. You're going to be choosing like between a couple good guys that are, a few good guys that are 3 to 4K to finish out your lineups. So it looks to me kind of like a stars and scrubs types approach. And these Knicks guys are kind of in that mid range. So I don't find myself, even with this news, too interested in the Knicks team, to be honest.
Are you stars and scrubbing it tonight, Bobby Gomes?
Yeah, well, that seems like it's what the build is holding. Like, I would imagine people go to Ty Jerome, Trey Mann. I think those guys are going to be firmly in play for the cash guys. Anthony Simons, and it just allows you to get up to Giannis. I think I prefer DeJounte too. I think that's kind of the feeling at RPS, or it seemed like that on the free show. So I'm on the DeJounte train tonight.
Okay. And DC mentioned OKC, and it's just like, wow. What do we got? Giddy's out, right? Favors, yeah. Williams.
The big two are Giddy and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. So yesterday with Giddy out, SGA was my favorite play on the whole slate. He put up 50 fantasy points. He was going to be my favorite play on the slate today because he just takes on such a bigger role with Giddy out. Now he's out too. So you take the two guys on OKC, really the only two guys that do any of the playmaking. SGA had like 33 drives to the basket last night, which is just an unheard of number. You take that out of the equation, and they're going to have no choice but to roll out Trey Mann and what's the other guy's name? Ty Jerome at point guard. They're going to have to do the playmaking. I think you throw Lou Dort in there too. So those OKC guys, I haven't looked at, the projections or optimals, but I've got these guys like Ty Jerome, I think will put up 25 plus fantasy points at 3,200. I don't think that's like an unrealistic expectation even. So just for me, chalk that you almost have to eat.
The Thunder's lineups goes Man, Jerome, Dort, Baisley, Robinson, Earl.
Yep. Yeah.
Man, Jerome, Dort, Baisley, Robinson, Earl. So, guys, let's get some overall thoughts from you, and then we'll just break it down game by game. Of course, we'll take your questions too, guys. I'm going to weave them in and out. And then the last 20 minutes or so, we're really going to hammer your questions just like we normally do. But, DC, why don't you start on this one? Broad thoughts on tonight's slate. You already mentioned stars and scrubs. What else is on your mind?
Yeah, to me, kind of OKC, this news dominates the slate. I don't see any way, honestly, to get away from it. And then you do have other good injury situations to target, though, in the later games. Devin Booker out for the Suns. Chris Paul going to have a likely a big game. He's been playing well. And then out in Portland, you do have Damian Lillard, Nasir Little, and possibly Norman Powell out too. So you have guys like Anthony Simons, CJ McCollum, who look like tremendous plays. So like I said, you're going to have to make some cuts for guys that you're going to project for 5, 6x their salary. I think it's going to be if Giannis goes off, if some of these stars go off like they should, I think it's going to be a very, very high scoring 5-game slate. So it's tough to kind of cut your lineups down to, the 8 guys that you're playing.
Bobby Gomes, give me an overall thought on this, buddy.
Yeah. Giannis on the back-to-back 69 fantasy points last night. He's definitely in tournaments. I think there was a case to be made. Obviously, if you're MMEing, I wouldn't be fully fading him, but if you're playing one lineup, there's definitely a case to make to fade him. I think that's pretty much the route I'm taking. I'm going to go stars and scrubs and just pay up for different, somewhat adequate studs, right? Like Randall, I think I'm going to play, and DeJounte, and have these Portland guys. I guess it's more of a middling build.
It's not to me, I'll probably end up on Giannis, not because I particularly like the matchup or even, I don't really want to pay 12K for them. They could blow out Toronto here, I think, even on the road. But it's just there's so many good value plays. And then I really like the guards, right? McCollum, CP3. So I find myself – and then the Thunder guards, right? So there's all these point guards that I want to play. So I kind of naturally end up on that big Giannis spend up, basically, which, I think is kind of where a lot of people will end up. It's not like to me, I just think the chalk – looks really good. I don't always think that, but tonight it looks really, really good to me.
Okay. A couple questions already in the chat. So let's get to that. And then we're going to go game by game. Pikachu. Hey, lock in Giannis, Siakam, Jaren, and Randall with so much value. Can you do that? So Bobby, let me get your thoughts on that. Giannis, Siakam, Jaren, and Randall. You lock that in. Is that a good start?
Yeah, I don't like Jaren Jackson. He's going to hit all optimals. He's the type of guy that can pretty much bust as chalk, right? So he was the first guy X'd. You can obviously go off. It's a good spot. I just don't really play Jaren Jackson. What was it? Jaren Jackson, Siakam, Giannis, and who was the last guy? Randall. Yeah. If you can fit those guys, what's Jaren Jackson's price? 6, 7,
1.
7-1. So if you can make that work, I think Ty Jerome and Trey Mann are guys you're just playing. That's kind of why I think everyone's going to gravitate towards Giannis builds, which makes the most sense because he's the best stud on the slate. He is on a back-to-back though, so that's what I caution, but he's Giannis. So, yeah.
Okay. Any thoughts there, DC, on that build?
Yeah. I'm probably not going to play Siakam. I mean, he could be matched up with Giannis a ton here. That's scary to me.
Yeah.
It's too expensive. Same thing with Randall. I think Randall's a fine play, but Giannis and Jaren Jackson, the two that I'm most interested in here. I get it, Bobby, with Jaren Jackson. I mean, this is about as expensive as a price tag, I think, as we've seen him all year long, or really anytime throughout his career. And if he's chalky, this is a guy that busts all the time, gets in foul trouble. But with John Morant out and a really, really good matchup against this depleted OKC team, this is a perfect spot for him to absolutely smash. So cash games, if you can fit him in, you should, I think. But yeah, I get it as a tournament fade.
Yeah. Now Pikachu said it's on FanDuel, but I think you guys got your thoughts out on that. And Boats and Hoes, thoughts on Clark on FanDuel? DC, Clark on FanDuel?
Yeah, especially if you're fading Jaren Jackson. I think Clark is really interesting. He could benefit from that Jaren Jackson foul trouble. You get leverage for all the people that played Jackson. And yeah, both sides, Clark is a good play.
Okay, Bobby, let's get your thoughts on the first game. We got 5 games tonight. We'll do it a little differently, game by game, since we got the time, and we'll continue to hit your questions too. But Bucks visiting the Raptors. This is the second highest total of the night. We got Spurs Trailblazers at 215. This at 216. This one's at 215. And Giannis is going. He went bonkers last night, right? So, what do you want to do with him? Are there any other plays? Some of the guys here, they love Toronto. Why not roll Toronto guys out all the time? There's no OG, of course. So let's see. Talk to me. What do we got here on the Milwaukee side and the Toronto side?
Yeah, so on the Milwaukee side, Giannis is obviously the best, raw spend up. He's just a great play. Obviously, it's a back-to-back. I would caution there. 7-2 is Chris Middleton. I don't mind him. Bobby Portis is 7-1. Bobby Portis is relieved Giannis in these situations, like when they're on the back-to-back and he plays a ton of minutes. So that's I kind of don't hate him. On the other side, Gary Trent, I think he's my favorite Raptor. Scotty Barnes is pretty much back-to-back 240-plus games. He's really coming into his own at 7-5. So I like him at a small forward position that I think is really not as strong when you take out Barrett. And obviously Lou Dort seems like he's going to be chalky. So maybe spending up is to a guy like Barnes, you're spending $2K more. It's just spending up might be a way to kind of differentiate in that scenario. I'm not on Siakam. DC made a really good point. Siakam's going to see a ton of Giannis. So
what do you think? What do you think here, DC, this first game of the night? Is it going to be very popular?
I don't know. I mean, Chicago, New York's not a game I'm playing. And then, Milwaukee, Toronto, stuff with Giannis. I mean, it doesn't feel like he should have to do these giant games. He's got great teammates, Middleton, Drew Holiday, but it's just night after night, just absolutely smashing, just playing at just such an insane level right now. I don't really know that the matchup matters all that much. So, yeah, Giannis for me from the Bucks is the guy I would go with if going there. And then Toronto, the minutes are there, but just the matchup scare to me. So I just don't. There's just too many good plays in the later games for me to get much of either of these first 2 games.
Okay, I get it. Totally get it. Guys, ladies, questions. We'll start taking them again, and we'll continue to run with it on 4-game slate now because we just went through the first 2 games. DC, I'm going to go right back to you with the Bulls and the Knicks. So again, we got the Nerlens Noel, the RJ Barrett out. Just talk about the Knicks in particular from top to bottom tonight.
Yeah, the big thing with them is they've, the Kemba Walker news is still bigger news than either of these, RJ Barrett or Nerlens Noel, because Alec Burks is the point guard now, starting point guard for the Knicks. I talked about it before the last game. When Tibbs says, "You're my new starting point guard," that's a lot of minutes. And sure enough, Burks played 39 minutes the next game after that, put up 46 fantasy points, 21 shot attempts. That's if he's playing well or, playing decent, Tibbs, that's what Tibbs does. He says, "You're my guy, go play all these minutes." So yeah, Burks at 6,500, I think has upside, not the best matchup in the world against Chicago, but listen, if you're going to give him 38 to 40 minutes at point guard, probably going to have a pretty good game, right? So Burks, I think 6,500, pretty good play too.
Bobby, we started the show with the Knicks. Can you talk a little bit more about them though? Any other paths to getting some of these guys rostered?
Yeah, Alec Burks, just like DC said, really good spot now that he's a starting point guard for the Knicks. I don't mind going up to Randall. AP had him in his core. I think he's a good play. On the Chicago side, they're too much. They're all kind of back and they're priced for when guys are out. So I like that kind of, I'm not really, they're all kind of priced up from when guys were out. In terms of it'd be Randall and Burks. I would have had interest in Barrett, but he's obviously ruled out now. That's pretty much it. 210 total. And not in love with this game.
Same thing for you on the Chicago side, DC?
Yeah, Vucevic back. They've got kind of all their guys there. And typically when that's the case, good team, but they're just a little bit overpriced on a night where there are so many underpriced assets to roster that it's hard to play. I won't have any Bulls on any of my lineups. I'll say that.
You won't have any. Okay. No worries about that. We got 2 of the 5 done. Is there a guy named Santi really in Bobby Gomes' core from You Better Relax, Bro?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad play. If he sees 17 minutes, they're kind of hurt. He's 0.94 fantasy point per minute play. He's a power forward. It's more of a large field thing. I was actually like thinking about taking him out a little while back, but I don't know if I'm going to play him on my main team, but if I was playing 150, I definitely have exposure to him. It's a 5-game slate. Like, you need to take some chances, right?
Yeah. Why not? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Thoughts on Nurkic from Pikachu? Who the fuck is, hold on. King Chief, who the fuck is Santi Aldama? You know why I know that's a good play?
You got to dig deep, my man.
You know why I know that's a good play? Because I just heard, who the fuck is Santi Aldama? But lock him and load him, baby. He's a first-round pick, guys. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know.
What are we doing? Huh? They never heard of Santi? All right, whatever.
It's just because he wasn't talked about on the other shows. So
okay. Why don't you talk about him a little more? Okay, just because everyone's blown away.
Yeah, it's not like that. It's more of a pricing play. Like he's 3K, all this other value people are going to use. Like I would use it more. Like T kind of talks about this. Like when he's a large field GPP play. Like if you feel like playing him, it's a 5-game slate, little shorter player pool. I think it's someone to touch on. So that's why I threw him in there.
Okay, I don't mind it at all. I like it, as a matter of fact. Yeah, do you guys not watch the NCAA tournament? This is one of the big guys on who was it? Loyola. Or Loyola with that little old lady. She's like 100 years old. Well, there you go. Now you got it. And Nate, stop asking about the Mighty Ducks. We're trying to win some money here. Okay, buddy? You cannot ask me a cinematic question. I don't want to mess with that. Junior, he's not your cousin either. I don't want to hear about that either. The chat's just going all crazy tonight, Bobby. You got him going nuts.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, I don't get it, but hey, you bring up somebody they never heard of. Now they really want to play him. Maybe they don't. What do you guys think of Aldama in the chat? Are you playing him now? OKC and Memphis, DC. Again, we discussed OKC, but I'd love a really detailed breakdown of plays in the type of build you would be playing these plays.
Yeah, I'll be loading up here. Again, it's the backcourt in particular that I think is the way better play. So, like I mentioned, Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander were like the two, like pretty much like the only playmakers on this team for the first however many games they've played. And now both are down in the span of 2 games. SGA had, I think, one of, if not his best games of the season last night. He's out of the equation. It's going to fall to Ty Jerome, Trey Mann, and then I think the only other guy that can really dribble and play make and pass is Lou Dort. So those 3 guys, I think, are going to have, if this team puts up 100 points, like those guys, I think have to have pretty big games, 5+ assists each, 15+ points, and they're all cheap. Dort, I think, is the one that you can fade just because he's more expensive. He's 5,700 compared to Jerome, 3,200, Mann, 3,600. Jerome and Mann, first guys in my lineup tonight. Even over the, like a Simons, I think they're even better plays. OKC just doesn't have anywhere else to go in terms of ball handling. These guys have to play minutes. And, most times when you see an NBA point guard step into kind of must play minutes, like they perform, right? And it's not like Memphis is some juggernaut, they're missing guys too. So yeah, Jerome, Mann, I think are the 2 best. I really like Lou Dort. And then a guy that will go, I think, somewhat under the radar for OKC, Robinson Earl starting at center. He's been playing pretty well, decent scorer, and can do a little bit of playmaking. Did have 4 assists last game with Giddey out. So I like him a little bit at 4,400 too. Probably not playing Basley is the one guy I don't really like. He's been kind of falling out of favor. So yeah, I'd rank them Jerome 1, Mann 2, Dort 3, and Robinson Earl 4 for me.
Ooh, okay. Bobby, any agreements, disagreements here on the Thunder?
It would be Jerome, Trey Mann. Actually, I'm gonna go Trey Mann, Jerome. Trey Mann, Jerome. Then it would be Bazley, then Lou Dort. Lou Dort, he was like, in terms of chalk, he was. I don't like to play Lou Dort as chalk just because he can go out there and he's going to chuck, but he can also chuck and just brick everything. So at 5'7", I don't have a ton of interest.
Yeah, I think the difference for me for Dort in this scenario is he's just going to have to I don't think he's really going to be like standing in the corner like he sometimes does. I think he's actually going to have to be pretty involved in the offense and relied upon to score, right? To kind of create his own stuff a little bit, which is asking a lot from him a little bit, but someone's got to do it on OKC.
They can do it. What about the Memphis side, DC?
Yeah, some good plays here, but they're priced up way more than the OKC guys are.
Real quick, what happened with Trey Mann the other night? It wasn't the night it wasn't the night that we thought it was going to be.
It was last night. Yeah, it wasn't a great night for Trey Mann.
No, that was struggle. That was.
Well, it's because SGA just took over all the ball handling. So you had Trey Mann standing in the corner, but that's what I'm saying. SGA's out of here. Now, Trey Mann, you will see him. He was a point guard, coming into the league. You'll see him handle the ball here, along with obviously Ty Jerome. Those are really, and Dort, the only three guys that can do it. Those guys are going to have the ball in their hands all game long here, and they're under 4K. So fade at your own risk. And then Memphis, again, they're priced up a little bit. We've seen John Moran out a couple games. Even with Kyle Anderson out, like Brandon Clark, I think is a good play off the bench, and Jaren Jackson looks solid. And then Steven Adams at 4,300. But those guys are all three big men, and they're kind of cutting into each other's minutes a little bit. So at most two of those guys, and I would try to limit to one even on any individual lineup.
Kay Fallick doesn't have time to hang out with us tonight, but he is saying that your boy Santi is a 3 out of 150 on an MME there. 3 out of 150, Bobby. How many out of 150?
I think Kay Fallick's I think Santi's a better play than some of Kay Fallick's dusty MME plays that I've seen him post in the past. Just awful plays over and over again. They're so bad. I feel like I'm being a dick, but
Fallick, how are you not coming on to defend your honor right there, man? I mean, Bobby's out here touting guys that we've never heard of yet. I love the play, especially when you haven't heard of it. Fallick, on the other hand, he's going to have some. He's going to have like 1%.
Well, good for Fallick, his 1%. I never even see Fallick MMA.
This is a guy jumping in Discord every day to tell you to bet Lonzo doubles, triple double prop. He says he's going to bet it till it happens, and it only has to happen once in every 2 years. Well, keep waiting, K Fallick. I'm sure you'll get it someday.
Once in 2 years.
Fantastic player, K Fallick.
That is a really that's dedication right there, man. Because what's going to happen. Like one time, you're not going to be able to bet it, and then he's going to hit, and then it's just like I fucking quit.
Somehow it's like the worst possible matchup. Or injured, and that's going to be the day he gets it.
Okay, Fallick, I love you, man. But you're invited to the show anytime. But tell Bobby
he can come on and argue his defense. I've seen him tout some insane plays. I haven't said anything, so let him come on.
This is kind of this is a Fallick play.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He would have been the one to respect it. That's why I kind of feel disheartened.
Me too. I was like, oh, Fallick's totally getting into this, but that's fine. That's fine. All right, K Fallick, we love you, buddy. Boats and Hoes, Baisley or Clark, FanDuel.
I actually will go Clark there. I think he'll be way lower round.
What do you think, Bobby? Baisley or Clark?
I like Baisley because I like Santi, right? So I can't really like Clark.
All right.
I like the Baisley side.
All right, pick a side, guys. Pick one of Bobby or DC, and you roll with that one. Thoughts on Stewart on FanDuel, Bobby?
He makes sense on FanDuel. I don't think I'm going to have him on DK. Isaiah Stewart, we're talking about, correct? Yeah, it's not a bad play. 5K on FanDuel. I think that's a fine price.
DC?
Yeah, I'm not going there, but I think he's okay.
Yeah,
just okay. Okay.
Yep. Best I can.
Goblin days
on FanDuel. You're paying up at power forward. You're getting to Giannis, and
you got to. Okay. KML, Barnes and Vucevic or DeRozan and Ayton on a FanDuel GPP. Barnes, Vucevic, DeRozan, Ayton.
Barnes, Vooch, DeRozan, Ayton.
Mm-hmm.
I go the Barnes side.
Yeah, me too. I'm not on DeRozan specifically.
Okay. Skoducks, DDR, DeJounte, or Derek White and Giannis. No sight. So if you want to talk about FanDuel or DraftKings DC? DDR, DeJounte, Derek White, Giannis.
Yeah, I don't like DDR, so I'll go White and Giannis there.
Bobby Gomes?
DDR and DeJounte or White and Giannis. I'm going to go DDR DeJounte.
Okay. Jarrett Culver's at 3K. Has Ja's pick on DK. Do we lock him in? Are you locking him in because he has Ja's pick, or are you locking him in because you like Jarrett Culver, Connor? That is the question.
I must recommend against Jarrett Culver. I'm a Timberwolves fan. He was drafted by the Wolves. This guy, he stinks. Don't play him.
I feel like this was a narrative street one, though, because he liked them because he has Ja Morant's pick instead of his own.
Oh, I see that now. Clicking on it.
Yeah. So does that change your mind, DC? Now, or are you rolling him out there?
It does not change my mind, but I would be more inclined to play him with. I will say it does make a tiny bit of difference. It does.
Bobby, are you more inclined to play a player if it has Ja Morant's picture in it instead of himself?
Ja Morant, good picture, good hair, luscious locks.
What about Jarrett Culver though?
Not a Jarrett Culver guy.
No. Nobody knows what he looks like. So
all right, Connor, we threw him out. We do not want Jarrett Culver. I don't even know if you were serious.
I want to take Santi out, but I just want to kind of leave him in to spite K Fallick at this point.
Hold on, you want to take Santi out?
I think I would play him in 150. Like, I think he makes a ton of sense, but I have to kind of perform here. So,
oh no, Bobby,
I'm going to leave him. But if I wouldn't pivot, I think Cam Johnson would be my pivot.
What's the chat's thought on spite plays? I've never been to a place where there are more spite plays. And the odd thing is they often pan out, they're like, all right, I'm going to play this just because you don't like them. And then you look up the next day, it's like, oh my God, that guy actually, he was actually right about that. I actually think there's if there's a pie chart here, and this is the fit, I'd actually say we probably got like a 57% positive spite chart play there, Bobby. So you might be okay. And DC's agreeing. I see him shaking his head. Like, we're all about spite here. All about it.
You're going to be competitive, right?
About making the spite play yourself.
Yeah.
If it works out, you get the benefit of it was a good play for your lineup, make money.
Yeah.
You get the other benefit of, you winning the spite against whoever you're feuding against, whoever you got beef with. And then you have the third benefit. If it doesn't work out, you don't have to blame yourself. You're like, I had to play the spite play. So you can play it both ways. It's like a little emotional hedge.
That's how I set it up. That's exactly how I was setting it up.
Yeah. And I always say this. If you play the spite play and it doesn't work, who's the more foolish, the fool or the fool who follows it? That's all I can tell you. If it works out, you're brilliant. You're playing a dude you didn't even hear of before tonight, and he just helped you ship. Like, what a great night that is. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to watch any NBA tonight. Come on. We got the Cowboys game, the Cowboys and the Saints, though. We got some football, but
who's your captain tonight, Holden?
Oh, that's a good one. I think, you know what? You're not going to like this. I think I'm just going to roll Dak out there with a little Pollard and a little Hill. And that's it.
I don't hate that at all.
Dak, Pollard, Hill. I got 3 lineups. That's all I play. How about you?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I haven't even looked at the slate yet.
No.
I haven't even looked.
I know I'm going to feel bad if it's like Lamb or Cooper or something, but I actually watched the show with JSU and Tony and who was it? The big wheel guy. What the hell is his name? He's really good.
Whistle goes woo.
Whistle goes woo. Yeah, not big wheels. Whistle goes woo.
He's a good
He's really good, isn't he?
Whistles very, very good. Very good.
Yeah. Well, I'll remember his name now instead of big wheels, but yeah. I liked some of their thought process. That's a really good show. If you guys are gonna play Showdown,
you should really watch that show.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to make a habit of it as often as I can watch it. I do. Back to the hoopage. Nape wants to know DK 2v2, DeJounte and Crowder or Randall and Baisley? DeJounte, Crowder, Randall, Baisley. Good question.
DeJounte Crowder, Randall, Baisley.
Yeah. And by the way, DC just posted his core in the NBA chat or in the live show chat and probably an NBA too, right? All right. So it's up. Ty Jerome, Trey Mann, Lou Dort, Simons, and Paul. But anything here on Nape's question? DeJounte Crowder, Randall, Baisley?
We'll go the DeJounte side, but I don't love Crowder.
Okay.
I'd go the DeJounte side too.
Bobby, Brittany wants to know Giannis in power forward or center on DK?
I'd use him at the PF. I would be playing him at the power forward.
Okay.
I think Nurkic takes up a center position. Yeah, I'd use him at power forward.
Okay.
Well, let me ask you a question, Bobby. CP3 or CJ McCollum?
CJ McCollum.
I'm on the CP3 side, but I like both guys.
I'm just worried about like it. I guess it could be like a letdown game, right? They just played Golden State, two best teams in the league.
I just think without Booker, it's like look at like CP's surrounded by. He's got like the pick and roll with Ayton and his 3 shooters, and it's just like he has to. He just it's the offense is kind of him, and against Detroit, like he's gonna win that. You know what I mean? It was like I just feel like it's gonna be CP3 running pick and roll with DeAndre Ayton. He's gonna dribble into the paint. He can kick out for a 3, right? Drain the pull up 2 or lob to Ayton. Like he's just gonna. Detroit, like he's just gonna pick them apart. So I love CP3 here to just absolutely crush.
Ooh la la. We do have 2 other games to get down, and guys and ladies, we'll get back and get to all your questions. DC Pistons Suns. You just talked about Chris Paul, so I kind of know you're feeling there. Anything else here?
I just think he's just gonna pick this team apart. Like you're worried maybe about a little bit of a blowout, but Booker being out means that even if it does turn that way, I think CP3 is going to have played a huge role in it already if he misses that 4th quarter rotation. And then I like DeAndre Ayton too. I think those 2 are going to get rolling here. I like DeAndre Ayton against bad teams where, he's kind of dominating on the boards. They're missing a lot of shots. He's got chances for blocks and steals, that type of thing. So I like that CP3 DeAndre Ayton kind of pick and roll game getting going and crushing these Pistons. And then the 2 through 4 positions for the Suns, they got plenty of guys to kind of shuffle in and out. Guys Prince and Cameron Johnson and Bridges, they all kind of play very similar roles, but they can't replace Booker except for, in my opinion, more CP3. So I think he's gonna have a great game here.
I really like Cam Johnson. He's been playing really well. I feel like he starts because I don't think Shamet. I think Title made a good point on the free show. Like Shamet's going to have a tough time guarding some of these Detroit guys due to like his size. So I think Cameron Johnson becomes very interesting, especially if he ends up starting. He would be the guy I'd swap out of that core.
Connor's playing Santee over Culver for you, buddy. Okay.
What would you say?
Connor's playing Santee over Culver because of you.
He
and
should.
Junior says that spike plays are an emotional free roll. And you know what? You're right, Junior. It is an emotional free roll. So it's kind of where my life has been the last couple of years too. An emotional free roll. Just throw it out there and go with it, man. Hey, Junior, that was prophetic, man. I absolutely love that take. Was there anything else in that game, Bobby, you wanted to get to, or we get back to the questions?
That's pretty much it, I think.
Okay, good. CC Kings. Oh, before I get to CC Kings question, I promise I'll get to it. Knicks lineup: Burks, Quickly, Fournier, Randall Robinson. Burks, Quickly, Fournier, Randall Robinson. Bulls are going with Ball, Levine, DeRozan, Green, and Vucevic. Those are the 2 lineups that just popped over the last 5 minutes. What's that?
Quickly's a new addition, right, Bobby?
Yeah, I think he is a new addition.
That's interesting.
Well, let's talk about it. What's interesting?
Quickly wasn't really on my radar, but I'm looking now.
He sees entry with like if you take Kemba Noel and RJ off, he's like in play.
I mean, he did see 38 minutes last game, so I don't know if
I do not like playing Emmanuel Quickly. I can tell you that much.
If he was something other than a guard, I would play him, but I'm not gonna be able to get there over guys like Jerome, Mann, Simons are the same. Simons and Quickly are the same price. So yeah, I would kind of like to play him, but I just don't have a spot for him on my rosters because I have just so many guards that I like.
So he's starting tonight. All right, we'll finally get to your question here, CC Kings. 3v3 guys. Burks, Nurk, Santee. Bobby, this is for you. Burks, Nurk, Santee, or Randall Shamet Clark?
Burks, Nurk,
Santee.
The first one.
Gotta be. And DC, you got any thoughts on this one here? The Burks, Nurk, Santee, or Randall Shamet Clark side?
First one, yeah.
Some bets. Triple J or Brooks in a DKGPP. Triple J or Brooks?
Definitely Triple J, but I just I'm not playing Triple J tonight, but definitely Triple J.
Agreed. Yep.
Drexel Tim Bridges with Booker out? Question mark.
I think all those guys kind of get a bump. Like
no, the bump goes to CP3. That's the bump. Everyone else
DC thinks the bump goes to CP3. Bridges is at 5'7" though. I would much rather I would much rather Cam Johnson at 4'2".
Bridges' role doesn't change at all, right? Maybe you give him like what, 1 or 2 extra shots. I mean, at most, and then everything else is basically the same with Booker out. It's CP3 who gets the huge role change here.
CP3 get the big role change tonight. These questions are actually good tonight, which is interesting because that's sometimes not the case with JSU and Big T. So you guys are bringing out the best in people. I just want to let you know that.
Santi's moving up my rankings.
Yeah, I think you're moving up everybody's rankings if Santi hits tonight. I'll tell you that much. Stan, DKGPP, Van Vliet, Levine, or McCollum? Van Vliet, Levine, or McCollum? That's a good question.
Van Vliet, Levine, or I like McCollum.
Yeah. McCollum over those two. Levine clearly third. And then I have CP3 over all 3 of those guys, where you would generally include those 3 guys kind of in that same question. Maybe not.
What about Dort versus Baisley on DK?
I think it's clearly Dort. It's the playmaking that they're missing. Baisley can't do it at all. He's just kind of – I'm not a fan of Baisley. I think Dort can play a little bit.
Stan wants to know if – his playing quickly, Rose and Burks, too much Knicks on DK. Basically, how many Knicks? This will be the second time I got this question. So how many Knicks are too many? How many OKC guys are too many? The too many questions, guys.
Knicks, I wouldn't play more than 2. OKC, I think you can play. I have tournament lineups with 4 OKC guys.
Bobby?
DC answered it perfectly. 2, good. I'd probably say for the Knicks. And then it would be 3. I think I'd go at most 3, but it really doesn't make any difference. 3 or 4 or whatever.
You mad, bro? Is Shamet okay as the last piece in DK?
Not really.
I think Shamet's going to grade out as a good play, but I just don't think he's a good play.
No upside, man.
Yeah.
Okay. JRE or Baisley? And thank you, Dwayne. JRE or Baisley?
I like Baisley. But I know a lot of people are on JRE. They're like in a very similar price range. Yeah. For me, I'm going to go Baisley.
I prefer JRE by a decent bit there. For when he's playing center, just obviously better for rebounding. And then I think he's a better playmaker than Baisley is. And I don't know. The younger player, I just kind of feel like he's kind of on the ascendancy a little bit, whereas Baisley's been losing minutes, even as guys have been going down.
All right, we'll be getting back to your questions in just a sec, guys. But Gary did the playbook. He loves this Portland-San Antonio game tonight. It is the highest total at 216. Obviously, no Lillard. That's something to look at, too. DC, can you give me a detailed breakdown here on the Spurs and the Blazers?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the big news with the Blazers is Lillard is out. You know, he's like we have this situation on a bunch of teams tonight. John Morant out, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out. And when those lead guards miss time, players fill in and pick up the slack. That's just what happens. So CJ McCollum, Anthony Simons, the 2 guys that are the primary benefactors there. But Yusuf Nurkic, they just got to run more stuff through him. He's a good offensive center who doesn't get to do as much as he might otherwise do if he wasn't on a team with 2 great shooters, right? And Lillard and McCollum. So you take one of those guys off the floor, and Nurkic has to do more. So 7K is getting up there a little bit, but I do think he's a really high upside play, I think.
Bobby, San Antonio, start with that side, and let's get to
Portland. I love DeJounte. CJ McCollum, him and Nurkic, I think, are perfectly fine. They're in really good spots. Anthony Simons, so he was on a back-to-back the other night after he was chalk, and he's a jump shooter. So he was priced at 4K. He didn't do great. Now he's up to 4.9. You kind of have to weigh that. I think if Powell plays, I wouldn't have much interest in Simons, and I think Powell might be an interesting pivot off of Simons, even though they're 2 different positions. But in tournaments, I don't know if you have that option. I don't think it's the worst play. Yeah. And now Simons is 4.9 and not 4K as chalk. So I still think he's playable. I think he's a good play. I just don't know how much I'm going to get. But just keep in mind that he busted as chalk on a back-to-back. So, and he's a jump shooter. I think he's fine. I just don't know what his ceiling is, so I'm not playing him in my one lineup.
All right, Dwayne wants to know what you think about a balanced lineup tonight. DC, I know you're not going that route. Bobby, can you get to a balanced lineup and feel comfortable just for you?
I'm building balanced. Yeah. Right now,
you are building balanced.
Is very balanced. Even though I threw Santi in, I just wanted to throw in like a 150 play. And yeah.
What is it about the balance? Because this is great because you and DC kind of have completely different builds tonight, and I like that. Give me some of the build on the balanced lineup, not the plays, because we got your plays. Talk about the thought process.
Yeah, well, the thought process is that people are just going to pay up for Giannis, and it makes sense. Giannis, like 2-point spread. He played it. He's the back-to-back is what he's going to play like he's Giannis, but it's just like I'm trying to differentiate the build. I only have one. I'm playing the 555. These other people that have 30, like I have to be different than them. I'm not going to play the same stuff they're playing. So I like Ty Jerome and Trey Mann. It's just a way of differentiating that construction.
So Underdog came out and said Giannis is not listed as a starter on the in-arena stats. I don't know what that means. If this is just to get everybody to panic like the Omicron, or if this is legitimate news. So I'm going to go do some searching on Giannis right now. DC, while you talk about why the balance build maybe isn't the way to go for you tonight.
That's about to change if that's the case, right?
If Giannis is out, we'll have some scrambling to do in these last.
So that's from a Raptors beat writer, okay? That's from Doug Smith. And all he says, he goes, haven't seen anything official.
Oh, that guy,
stats monitor here. I mean, listen, guy, I've seen stats. Stop freaking people out, Doug Smith.
Yeah.
Jesus. If anything happens, I'll let you know.
I mean, 17 minutes before, if they had enough foresight to know that he wasn't going to be on like the scoreboard listing, I think they would have told us he was out, right? Like, I don't.
Well, I mean, now Lewinberg's coming out here, and this is another Raptors guy. He goes, no official word from the Bucks, but Giannis enlists as the starter. Second night of a back-to-back, he's in the building. So basically, just stick around here. All I'm going to do, you guys talk, and I'm going to keep.
Let's talk about. I think we should talk about what you do if Giannis is out, because we might get that news
exactly
2 minutes.
Bobby Portis becomes a very good play at 7-1. Chris Middleton would also become very much in play. Pat Con at 5-2. He's just not a high enough usage guy, but he might pop a little. I think my favorite guy would be Portis and Drew, right? Do we have?
I would play if Giannis was out. I would try to play two of the big three. That's Holiday, Middleton, and Bobby Portis. In my opinion, kind of joins that big three right now. The whole game becomes better. I think the Toronto guys become more in play with Giannis off the court. But yeah, mainly the three guys left, three main pieces left for Milwaukee. I think I would rank them Middleton, Holiday, Portis, but really like all three guys if Giannis sat. Okay.
One of the Bucks beat reporters just said it was strange. Okay. That's basically the analysis we're getting right now. It is a monitor there. So sometimes, and in all honesty, sometimes they got the interns putting those on because these are just the stat monitors. You got the play-by-play guys there, and then you get the writers. They put a little monitor next to them so they can see the stats continually accrue. But again, it's news. So I'm going to keep digging for you. Let's get some more questions while we're doing this. Bobby, do you have anything else to talk about as far as the Giannis build here? You mentioned some pivots, but anything else?
Yeah, so I swapped Cam Johnson into my core from Santi. So
Cam Johnson's in
Cam
there.
Johnson, yeah. But I still like Santi.
Pour one out for my homie Santi.
So for people, I'm sure people are editing their lineups right now. I'm currently taking Giannis out of my lineups, and I'll put him back in if I need to. But much better not to have him and have him play than other way around, right? You can't have Giannis in your lineup, have him sit. We'll get news, I think, during these next 14 minutes, but
we're gonna get the news. We're just gonna have to scramble.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm starting my scramble right now and getting Giannis out, and that means
great.
He's expensive. That means changing around several spots, right? So you don't want to be caught with 3 minutes with your pants down.
It's your dork in your hand, right?
But yeah. I don't think the biggest mistake you could make, obviously, is leaving Giannis in when he's out. The second thing you want to do, I think, is get some exposure to the Bucks, whether that's Portis, Middleton, Drew Holiday, or some combination of the three. I think you want something there. And then, just making sure – and then you have some time after that. I don't think you have to get, anyone from Chicago and New York in your lineup if you don't want to. Same with Toronto. So main thing, just, you can rebuild afterward. Just make sure if Giannis, if we don't know, get him out. And if he's out, you just be able to adjust as fast as you can.
Really interesting because a couple beat writers were posting some video of him at Showdown looking really good, but maybe that just doesn't matter if he's going to sit. So guys, ladies, again, we don't know if he's out. It's just that he wasn't on a monitor. Toronto beat writers are making a bigger deal of this than anybody else, with the exception of the one kid that covers the Bucks, Eric Nem, and he goes, "This is strange." Okay, that's where we are. So just know that going into this slate, a little bit of news. Actually a big piece of news that we're waiting on.
He's out, it looks like.
Yeah, Simons or Ty Jerome from Styes.
I like Ty Jerome.
You better relax, bro. DK, Cam Johnson or Brandon Clark?
Clark. Looks like we have confirmation on Giannis being out. I'm seeing from Underdog.
Yep. So that's it. That's this is, let's see here. No official word yet. So you got it. Confirmed Giannis is not playing from a Toronto beat writer. So if they said it, that's fine. Let's see here. Josh Lloyd.
Yeah, he's out.
Fantasy basketball analyst. All right. If they're saying that, I have not seen it from any of the actual actual beat writers yet, but they may have found that. So basically they're just saying that's what the thing is. All right. Let's assume that he's out for now. I'm still going to wait for official confirmation from a beat writer because we haven't seen that yet. Okay. So you can handle it the way you want to. If Underdog's throwing it out though, he's
going to be out. Yeah.
He's going to be out. Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be out.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it. Let's go. Let's adjust to this. You talked about your game plans already. This is the fascinating thing about DFS then, Bobby. How do we get the advantage now? We're scrambling. We already kind of came up with a plan. What's the pivot? DC, when he's done, please give me the info too.
I'm trying to get Portis and Drew. Those are the guys I'm going to try to get to. At least two of the DC broke it down perfectly prior to us getting the news. At least two of the big three, I think, from Milwaukee are going to get significantly bumped. So I just added Bobby Portis to my court at 7-1.
Okay. This says the Bucks 6 starters. So, I mean, at the very least. Oh, here it is. It's the Bucks broadcast. The Bucks broadcast is reporting he's now out. So on this show, Giannis is officially out since I got official confirmation from the Bucks broadcast. DC, I know you're changing things up. Real quick then, Bobby's going to Portis. Where are you going?
Yeah, I'm going I think I'm going to go all three: Portis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday. That's just the three, the big three that they have left. They know how to play without Giannis. We've done it plenty in the past, and we see these guys typically put up big numbers, Middleton and Drew in particular, when Giannis sits. And I think given this current iteration of Milwaukee, I think it's safe to include Portis kind of in that big three. You don't love the matchup, and I don't love changing my entire lineup 10 minutes before lock, but hey, here we are.
So Portis is going to pick up what statistical categories does Portis benefit from the most?
Well, his minutes,
everything.
His minutes are going to see an uptick.
Okay.
I mean, he should get an easy double here, I would imagine. I don't know if you can.
Bobby, what do you think about that double there?
Yeah, he's way too with his minutes taking up. What's he fantasy point per minute wise? Like, he's all right. He's going to see that there's a huge amount of usage that's going to be divvied up between these three on the Milwaukee side. So, yeah, points, rebounds, assists. Like, he's just going to be more involved. So,
okay,
I think he to me, it would go Portis, Middleton, and then Drew, I guess, if I had to rank them.
I honestly think it's pretty close between those guys to the point where, you know, I only feel the need maybe to play one, but I think you could play two or three, and whoever fits between Drew, Middleton, and Portis. I think all three are good plays. I wouldn't sweat too much necessarily which one you go to myself.
Okay. Yeah, and I know you guys were throwing stuff out. Giannis, he's out. Guys, I am only going to go with guys with blue check marks that cover the teams, okay? We've been burned before by other things. So I personally, I'm going to stay patient. You guys can make up your own minds, but we do have confirmation now. If you're just joining us, Giannis is out tonight. Pirtle or Nurk on FanDuel from Boats and Hose?
Nurk
is the guy.
Yeah.
Baisley or Crowder, FanDuel GPP from M. Westlake?
Baisley or Crowder?
I go Baisley.
Yeah, I don't really love either, but I would go Baisley too.
Nape wants to know on DK, straight up, Burks or Dort? Burks, right?
Close. I would go.
I like Burks.
I would go Burks, but I really like Dort tonight too. So
very close. Okay, Native JRod, DK GPP. 2v2 guys, McCollum, Cam Johnson, or Randall, Ty Jerome? McCollum, Cam, Randall, Ty Jerome.
I would go McCollum, Cam. I got them in my core.
I'll go to Jerome side.
PG Rebels, Brooks and Paul or Randall Dort? DK. Brooks and Paul, Randall Dort.
Brooks and Paul.
I'll go Randall Dort, but I really like CP3 too. So
I'm gonna go on the second side.
You got to feel like the Bucks knew for a long time he wasn't playing. Not that they would give a shit, but for people that play that bet, I know they have a big thing. They have a big deal with betting now. And then obviously us DFS players. So screw you Bucks. Or maybe it's an advantage for us. I don't know is this an advantage for us guys? Since we get to adjust to the news and,
Yeah, I think definitely it is.
Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you then. I appreciate it. Which players get a bump if Norm Powell sits? DFS wants to know.
Simons and McCollum, but those are kind of the two guys you want already. So
yeah,
it's
okay.
I don't know if there's a third guy I want from Portland at this point. Besides Nurkic is fine, but he doesn't really get that much affected by Powell anyway.
All right, Brandon, Cam Johnson and McCollum or Paul and Clark? DK single entry GPP. Cam and McCollum, Paul or Clark?
I would go Cam McCollum. Yeah. I'm just trying to build my team. That is my core. I'm just trying to build my team. I'm trying to think through my team in.
Connor, don't panic. And no, I'm not going to hold you. It's not something I do, Connor. I don't know you. If Bobby said, Holden, I'm a little panicked. Can you hold me? All right. I give him a pat on the back. You, Connor.
I want a hug, Holden.
I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a pat on the back, dude. I'd totally give you a hug next time I see you because I'm sure we saw each other at some point in time.
We definitely did. At some point.
Who's the best Toronto run back? Drexel Tim. Best Toronto run back.
I think
I would say Trent. Is Trent in?
Yeah, Trent is in.
Trent.
I kind of like Trent.
That game stack looks pretty good too. You're going to get the minutes out of the Toronto guys, Van Vliet, Trent, Siakam, and Barnes. I mean, all those guys going to play close to 40 minutes if the game stays close. You get Giannis out of there, and could certainly go that way if you wanted to.
By the way, guys, I just want you to know, it's tough rebuilding on the fly at 10 minutes left. But not only that, these guys are answering your questions too. So I just want to give them a shout out. This is why we do the Up to Lock show. We give you guys all the information you need. We try to help you pivot too, but these guys are rebuilding their lineups too. And unfortunately, the spite play, it seems like it's gone away, but this is what happens when news breaks. Fibber, Holiday Nwora or Portis Treyman? Holiday Nwora, Portis Treyman.
Portis side for sure.
You better relax.
I don't think you really want Nwora tonight.
All right. 3v3. You better, come on. You better relax. All right. We'll do your 3v3. DK. Middleton, Portis, Dort, Randall, Burks, Cam Johnson. Middleton, Portis, Dort, Randall, Burks, Cam Johnson. Bobby, I'm going with the first one, but I'd listen to you. Huh?
First one by a mile. Yep.
Yeah, it's easily the first one.
Yeah, because even I knew that one. You better relax. Come on, man. Ty the Barber, Burks and McGee or Shamet and Portis? Burks, McGee, Shamet, and Portis.
Portis side. I think me and Bobby are going to be on the Portis side on most of these questions.
Yeah.
Boats and Hose, Pat Con and Cam Johnson. Which one? FanDuel.
Pat Con and Cam Johnson. I like.
That's
I like
Pecan, right?
Pat Con's like, I'm seeing Pat Con in some of my stats. Well, yeah, I don't hate Pat Connaughton. I think he's interesting.
Oh,
Black's upside usually, even when Giannis.
Yeah, that's the thing is like he's 5'1" and he doesn't have the most upside.
Kenny, I was just getting your question. You were next. Dort and Randall or Murray and Gary Trent, DK GPP. Dort Randall, Murray Gary Trent.
I'd go Dort. Murray, I'm gonna go two.
All right, and you're okay with Gary Trent, right? You like Trent tonight. And,
I like Trent.
Nate Asfi was asking the question, any Gary Trent love? Yeah, Bobby's been giving him some love tonight. Pepe Silva, CMJ Dort or DeJounte and Cam? CJM Dort or DeJounte and Cam? And Giannis is out if you're just joining us here. So just to let you know again. But what's your take on that one, guys? CJM
Dort's the better play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pirtle Middleton or Nurkic Burks from Styes. Pirtle Middleton, Nurkic Burks. You're welcome, Anfer.
Nurkic Burks.
Okay. T Fish, Rose and Paul or Man and Murray in a DK GPP? Rose and Paul, Man and Murray. I mean, you're the Paul guy tonight, DC. How do you not go there?
Yeah, I don't like Derrick Rose much, so that would be one reason, but he's half of the equation. But yeah, I do love CP3 tonight.
Nick P. Grayson a good play?
He's okay. Yeah.
Who is the Toronto run back, guys, that you gave?
I think you can go to any of those guys.
Okay.
Ben Vliet, Siakam, Trent, and Barnes, I think are all pretty good plays if you want to go that way.
All right. Well, less than 2 minutes, guys. Get them in. CJM Dort or Murray and Cam?
CJM.
Yeah, CJM Dort. Yeah.
We do that one?
CJM Dort, yeah.
All right. And that's the questions for now. If any more pop up like they just did. T-Mole, Holiday and Cam or Burks and Patcon? Holiday, Cam, Burks, Patcon, no site specific.
Holiday side.
Woo. This is Giannis news. This is good, huh? Scotty Barnes or Middleton for Pikachu? Middleton to play there for you too, Bobby?
Yeah, Middleton.
Okay. CC Kings, Randall and Simons or Burks and Barnes? Randall Simons, Burks Barnes, DK.
Randall Simons.
And Payne or Simons?
Simons.
Last question before lock.
Thank you, DC. Appreciate that. I had to fix something.
No worries.
DeJounte and Earl or Drew and Triple J? DeJounte, Earl, Drew, Triple J.
I like all four, but Drew.
Yeah, I like all four. Drew, Triple J would be.
Okay. Any other news we're waiting on for later tonight, guys? Obviously, the Giannis news just shaking everything up, which is I kind of like it on the show. It gives, a little bit of
I think that's it because, we already have all the OKC and Memphis news, it seems like. I don't think there's any questionable players. That game starts in half an hour. And then, the late games outside Norman Powell for the Blazers, which changes not that much, right? I don't think that's news that you would necessarily have to adjust to. Little bumps to McCollum, Jerome, and Nurkic. But, nothing that you would need to totally remake your lineup, anything like that.
All right, guys. This is a great show. Great job reacting to that.
That was a lot. Holy shit.
Well, man, hey, JSU does have 5 days.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't believe JSU does 3.
It's not easy
doing his 3 to 5 lineups and news breaks like that.
Yeah,
10 minutes, 12 minutes before.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is NFL because most of us are building Saturday night, and then we'll just kind of adjust. But if there's a bombshell on Sunday, it's fucking crazy because the audience is huge, right? Up to lock, everybody's freaking out. And he just sits there and does. He's like, okay, here, I'll answer a question, rebuild my teams, and ship. He really is. He really is amazing.
Yeah.
And that's about it. Bobby, great to see you again, buddy. DC, wonderful to see you. Simon, wonderful job in the background. I hope everybody has a good night tonight, and hopefully you guys and ladies ended up doing a nice job pivoting off of Giannis since he's out. George Hill is available to play tonight. The Grizzlies lineup is Jones, Bain, Brooks, Jackson Jr., Adams. And that will do it for tonight's show. For Bobby Gomes, for DC, I'm Holden. Simon, get us out of here.